week's Parsha is called Parshat Emor, of course based on the fifth word of the Parsha. Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, Emor el HaKohanim b'nei Aaron. But one who looks more carefully at the Pasuk notes that this theme of Amira isn't just found in that first Emor. The Pasuk concludes, Emor el HaKohanim b'nei Aaron, v'yamarta alehem, lenefesh lo yitama b'yamav. Why does the word Amira appear twice here? The Medrash Rabbah famously says about this, that in the world above, it's enough for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to say something once and be fulfilled immediately. But in the world below where there's a Yetzer Hara, where people have the ability to choose, where God's presence isn't clear, Halavai Hashem saying something twice will work. Rashi formulates this in a different way. Rashi says, Emor al HaKohanim, Emor v'amarta, lahazhir gedolim al haktanim. To make the older ones responsible not just for hearing it, but for passing it on to other people, for being leaders, for being gedolim. In our world, things need to be said more than once. God has mercy on us and repeats things for us because we don't always hear. But eventually it becomes our responsibility to be the gedolim who are going to pass it on to other people. And I feel that this theme is one that characterizes Parshat Emor as a whole. Parshat Emor has so many different ways in which it empowers the Jewish people in their ability and responsibility to sanctify. Let's begin with Perek Chav Gimel, Mikroi Kodesh. The Yom Tovim are called Mikroi Kodesh because we have to sanctify them. And of course the famous Gemara in Brachot which explains why on Yom Tov we say Mekadesh Yisrael v'Hazmanim, while on Shabbat we say Mekadesh HaShabbat without Yisrael. And when Yom Tov and Shabbat fall together we say Mekadesh HaShabbat v'Yisrael v'Hazmanim. We separate the Yisrael from Shabbat, we connect Yisrael to Hazmanim. The Gemara in Brachot explains because the Jewish people sanctify Yom Tov. We set the calendar. As the Gemara in Makot says in other places, even when we're mistaken, the calendar, Rosh Hashanah, is set by us. Afilu mut'ayin, afilu onsin, even if it's against our will, we have this power to create and generate. The Ramban, despite what I mentioned from the Gemara in Brachot, says that even Shabbat, Zachor etam Shabbat l'kadsho, we play a role in sanctifying even what Hashem has already sanctified. It's not only time that we sanctify, though. We have the ability to create sanctity in objects. Perek Chav Bet talks about the Kedusha of Kodshim, which is like the Kedusha of the Kohanim in Perek Chav Aleph. But the Chiddush in Perek Chav Bet is that not only are the Kohanim who God made holy, holy, but objects that we sanctify are holy. As the Pasuk says, V'lo yechalulu et shem kodshi asher heim makdishim li. Rashi quotes Chazal who turn around the words in the Pasuk because how can we say that we sanctify the name of God? But we do. V'lo yechalulu et shem kodshi asher heim makdishim li. Ramban explains, we can attribute and associate God's name with object in this world. And of course, the ability to sanctify God's name is not only in reference to time and to objects, but it's something we accomplish through our very lives, by devoting ourselves to Avodat Hashem, not to be Mechalel Shem Shamayim, by putting our life before our values, but more importantly to be Mekadesh Shem Shamayim, by living our lives according to these values. And beyond that, 10 Jews can come together and create a Davar Shebekdusha, something of holiness, to be Mekadesh Shem Shamayim. We live in a world today where we're seeing the power of individuals. We saw from the World Trade Center calamity how a few people can bring down buildings and kill thousands. How much more so the ability of individuals to bring good, to sanctify, to make the world a better place, to be gedolim. May we learn from Parshat Emor, to hear what God says to us, and be the kind of people who can take responsibility in passing it on. Shabbat Shalom.